I'm 78 years old, and there are 3 decisions I made that destroyed my life. And the scary part, at the time, they all seemed like the smart choice. My name is Dorothy. I've been alive for 78 years, and I'm going to tell you about 3 moments where I made choices that seemed reasonable, responsible, even wise. But those 3 decisions cost me everything that mattered. My dreams, my relationships, my sense of self. And I didn't realize what I'd done until it was too late to fix it. The worst part isn't that I made bad choices. The worst part is that everyone around me praised me for making them. My family was proud. My friends said I was doing the right thing. Society told me I was being mature and selfless. But they were all wrong, and by the time I figured that out, I'd already lost 50 years. I need to tell you about these 3 decisions because I see people making the same ones every single day, and nobody's warning them, nobody's telling them that the safe choice, the responsible choice, the choice everyone approves of can be the choice ruined. Let me start with decision number 1. I was 22 years old. It was 1968. I just graduated from college with a degree in journalism. I loved writing, loved storytelling, loved the idea of traveling and reporting on important events and making a difference through words. I had a job offer from a small newspaper in Boston. Entry-level position, barely any pay, but it was a start. A foot in the door. The editor who hired me said I had potential. Said if I worked hard and proved myself, I could move up, maybe become a real reporter covering real stories. I was so excited. This was my dream. This was what I'd worked toward for 4 years of college. I was finally going to be a journalist. Then I told my parents about the job. My father sat me down and gave me a talk I'll never forget. He said journalism was unstable, said newspaper was struggling, said the pay was terrible and I'd never have security. He said I needed to think practically about my future. Then he told me about a position available at the insurance company where he worked. Administrative assistant, good benefits, clear path for advancement, safe, stable, secure. He said I could always write on the side if I wanted to, but I needed a real job first. A foundation, something to fall back on. My mother agreed. She said the Boston job was too far from home, said I was too young to be living alone in a big city, said I should stay close to family where people could look out for me. Even my college advisor, when I asked her opinion, said the insurance job made more sense. She said journalism was competitive and most people didn't make. She said having a stable income would give me freedom to pursue writing as a hobby without the pressure of needing it to pay bills. Everyone in my life was telling me the same thing. Take the safe job. Be practical. Don't take unnecessary risks. So I turned down the newspaper job and took the position at the insurance company. I told myself it was the smart choice, the mature choice, the responsible choice. I told myself I could always pursue journalism later. Once I had some financial stability, that was decision number 1, and it set the course for the next 40 years of my life. I started working at the insurance company in June of 1968. The job was fine, boring, but fine. I answered phones, filed paperwork, scheduled meetings for executive. Nothing challenging. Nothing interesting, but it paid well and had benefits. I told myself it was temporary, just a year or 2 to save money. Then I'd pursue journalism for real. But then I got a raise after 6 months. Then a promotion after a year. Then another promotion. The money got better. The benefits got better. And I kept telling myself I'd leave soon, just after this next raise, just after I saved a bit more, just after I felt more secure. Years went by. I was still at the insurance company, still doing administrative work, still telling myself I'd pursue writing soon. I did try writing on the side at first. I'd come home from work and spend a few hours writing articles, short stories, anything. But I was tired after 8 hours at the office. And my writing felt forced, uninspired. I wasn't living an interesting life, so I had nothing interesting to write about. Eventually, I stopped trying, told myself I was too tired, too busy. Maybe when I had more time. By the time I was 30, I'd been at the insurance company for 8 years. I was making good money, had a nice apartment, had savings in the bank. Everyone told me how well I was doing, how proud they were of me, how smart I'd been to take the stable job instead of risking everything on journalism. But inside, I felt dead. I felt like I was watching my life happen to someone else, like I was playing a role instead of actually living. That brings me to decision number 2. I was 32 years old. It was 1982. I'd been dating a man named Frank for about a year. He was nice enough, worked in accounting, stable, reliable, good income. We got along fine. No real passion, no deep connection, but we were compatible in a practical sort of way. Frank proposed, got down on one knee at a nice restaurant and asked me to marry him, and I said yes. Not because I was madly in love, not because I couldn't imagine my life without him, but because it seemed like the next logical step. I was 32. Most of my friends were already married with kids. My mother kept asking when I was going to settle down. Society told me my biological clock was ticking. Frank was a good man with a good job who wanted to marry me. What more could I ask? So I said yes. And we got married 6 months later. Again, everyone told me I'd made the right choice. My parents loved Frank. My friends said I was lucky to find such a stable, responsible man. Even I told myself this was what I wanted. This was what mature, practical people did. You found a compatible partner and you built a life together. But I didn't love him. Not really. I respect. But I didn't feel that deep, all-consuming love that makes you excited to see someone, that makes you want to know everything about them, that makes you feel alive. I told myself love wasn't the most important thing. Compatibility was, stability was, partnership was. And Frank and I had all of those things. We bought a house in 1984, had our first child in 1985, a daughter, Emma, second child in 1987, a son, James. I took a few years off work after Emma was born, then went back part-time when James started school. From the outside, I had everything. Husband, kids, house, career. The American dream. Everyone said how fortunate I was, how blessed, how I'd made all the right choices. But I was numb. I went through the motions of being a wife and mother. I did what I was supposed to do, but I felt disconnected from all of it, like I was acting in a play instead of living my life. Frank and I barely talked about anything real. We discussed schedules and bills and the kids, activity, but we never talked about dreams or fears or what we actually wanted from life. We were business partners running a household, not lovers sharing a life. The kids kept me busy. I poured myself into being a good mother. Took them to activities, helped with homework, made sure they had everything they needed. But even that felt hollow. I was doing all the right things, but feeling none of the right feelings. And I kept thinking, is this it? Is this all there is? Shouldn't I feel more than this? But I pushed those thoughts away. Told myself I was being ungrateful. Told myself lots of people would love to have my life. Told myself to stop complaining and be thankful for what I had. Years went by. Emma and James grew up. I went back to work full-time at the insurance company. Got more promotions. Made more money. Frank's career was also going well. We were financially comfortable, upper middle class, everything society said we should want. But I was dying inside, slowly suffocating under the weight of a life that looked perfect, felt empty. That brings me to decision number 3, the one I regret most of all. I was 47 years old. It was 1997. Emma had just graduated high school and was heading to college. James was a sophomore in high school. I was looking at an empty nest approaching and feeling this growing panic about what my life had become. One night, I couldn't sleep. I got up around 2 a.m. and went down to the basement where I'd stored all my old things from college. I found a box of my writing, articles I'd written for the college newspaper, short stories I'd worked on, notes for a novel I'd dreamed of writing. I sat on the basement floor reading through my old work, and I started crying because that writing was alive in a way nothing in my current life was. It had passion and energy and a voice that that was authentically mine. And I realized I'd completely abandoned that person. The girl who wrote those words didn't exist anymore. I sat for hours reading, crying, and I made a decision. I decided I was going to pursue writing again. Really pursue it, not as a hobby, but as a second career. I was 47. Emma was leaving for college. James would be gone in 3 years. My responsibilities at home were decreasing. I had some savings. This was my chance to finally do what I'd always wanted to do. I started researching. There were freelance opportunities, small publications looking for writers, even online platforms starting to emerge. I could start small, build a portfolio, maybe eventually leave the insurance company and write full-time. For the first time in 25 years, I felt excited about something. I felt like myself, like that 22-year-old girl who had dreams and passion and a voice worth hearing. I told Frank about my plan. I said I wanted to cut back my hours at work and start writing seriously. We could afford it. We'd saved well. The kids' college funds were secure. This was my time. Frank listened. Then he said no. He said it didn't make financial sense. We were approaching retirement age. We needed to maximize our savings now, not reduce our income. He said writing was a nice hobby, but not a realistic career path at my age. He said I should wait until we both retired. Then I could write all I want. We'd have time then. And here's where I made decision number 3, the decision I regret more than anything else in my life. I listened to him. I agreed. I put my dreams back in that box in the basement, and I kept working at the insurance company. I told myself Frank was right. I was being impractical, irresponsible, selfish for wanting to pursue something just because it made me happy. I needed to be realistic, needed to think about our future, needed to do the responsible thing. So I waited again. Just like I'd waited when I was 22. Just like I'd been waiting my whole life. And you know what happened? Frank retired in 2009 when he was 60. I retired in 2010 when I turned 63. We'd saved well, had a comfortable retirement. Everything was set for us to finally relax and enjoy our golden years. That's when Frank told me he wanted a divorce. After 28 years of marriage, he said he wasn't happy, hadn't been happy for a long time. He wanted to travel, explore, experience life while he still could. And he didn't want to do it with me. I was 63 years old, suddenly single, suddenly alone, and suddenly realizing I'd wasted my entire life waiting for permission to live. The divorce was finalized in 2011. Frank moved to Arizona, started dating a woman 10 years younger than him. Last I heard, they were traveling the world together, living the retirement he wanted. And me, I moved into a small apartment, split our savings, divided our assets, started over at 64 years old with nothing but regret for company. Emma and James were supportive but busy with their own lives. Emma was married with 2 kids living in California. James was in New York building his career. They'd call occasionally, visit once or twice a year. But I was alone most of the time. I tried to start writing again, but 40 years of not doing it had killed something in me. The voice I'd had it to was gone. The passion was gone. I'd waited so long that I'd forgotten how to access that part of myself. I'd sit at my computer trying to write and nothing would come, or if something did come, it felt forced, fake, like I was pretending to be a writer instead of actually being, because that's what I'd been doing my whole life, playing roles, being who I thought I should be instead of who I actually was. At 22, I chose security over passion. At 32, I chose practicality over love. At 47, I chose waiting over living. 3 decisions. 3 moments where I picked the safe choice, the responsible choice, the choice everyone approved. And those 3 choices destroyed me, not dramatically, not all at once, but slowly, over decades. They eroded everything that made me who I was until there was nothing left but a shell going through the motions. I'm 78 years old now. I've been alone for 14 years. I have a small pension and Social Security. I live simply. I see my kids and grandkids occasionally. On paper, I'm fine. But inside, I'm full of regret. Soul-crushing, devastating regret for all the things I didn't do, all the chances I didn't take, all the years I spent waiting for the right time that never came. I think about that 22-year-old girl who got offered a job at a newspaper and turned it down because it wasn't practical. I wonder what her life would have looked like if she'd been brave enough to take it, if she'd moved to Boston, pursued journalism and failed, succeeded on her own terms instead of playing it safe. I think about that 32-year-old woman who married a man she didn't love because he was a good choice on paper. I wonder what her life would have looked like if she'd waited for real love instead of settling for compatibility, if she'd held out for passion instead of accepting companionship. I think about that 47-year-old woman who finally got excited about something again and then let her husband talk her out of it. I wonder what her life would have looked like if she'd been brave enough to say no, if she'd cut back her hours and started writing and built something of her own instead of waiting for permission that never came. I wonder who I could have been if I'd made different choices, if I'd been braver, if I'd cared less about what everyone else thought and more about what I actually wanted. But I can't go back. I can't undo those decisions. I'm 78 years old and I have maybe 10 or 15 years left if I'm lucky. And I'll spend them living with the regret of what I didn't. Here's what I need you to understand. Those 3 decisions didn't feel like big deals at the time. They felt reasonable, responsible, safe. Everyone around me supported. Nobody told me I was making a mistake, but they were mistakes. Huge, life-altering mistakes. Because each one moved me further away from who I actually was and closer to who everyone else thought I should be. Decision number 1 taught me to choose security over passion, to play it safe instead of taking risks, to listen to other people's fears instead of my own dreams. Decision number 2 taught me to settle, to accept good enough instead of holding out for great, to treat life like a checklist instead of an adventure. Decision number 3 taught me to wait, put my dreams on hold, to believe that someday, eventually, when circumstances were perfect, then I could finally live for myself. But someday never come. Circumstances are never perfect. And if you keep waiting for permission to live your life, you'll wake up one day and realize you never lived it at all. I see people making these same decisions every day. Young people choosing safe careers over passionate ones because everyone says to be practical. People settling for relationships that are fine instead of holding out for ones that are great because they're afraid of being alone. People putting off their dreams because now isn't the right time. They'll do it later. They'll do it when things calm down. And I want to scream at them, want to shake them, want to tell them they're making the same mistakes I made. That later never comes. That safe is often the riskiest choice of all because it means never actually living. But nobody listens to the warnings of old. Everyone thinks they're different, thinks their situation is unique, thinks they have time to course correct later if needed. You don't. Time runs out faster than you can imagine, and regret is a heavy weight to carry in your final years. If I could go back and talk to my 22-year-old self, I'd tell her to take the newspaper job, move to Boston, risk failure, risk struggle, risk everything for a chance to do what she loves, because even if it doesn't work out, at least she'll have tried. At least she'll know. At least she won't spend the rest of her life wondering what it. If I could talk to my 32-year-old self, I'd tell her not to marry Frank, to wait for real love, to refuse to settle just because everyone says she should, to believe that being alone is better than being with the wrong person, that passion matters, that connection matters, that you can't build a good life with someone you're fundamentally disconnected from. If I could talk to my 47-year-old self, I'd tell her to ignore Frank, to cut back her hours at work and start writing, to stop waiting for permission and just do it, to understand that this might be her last chance and she needs to take it even if it's scary, even if people don't approve, even if it's not the practical choice. But I can't go back. I can only move forward with the consequences of those decisions. So instead, I'm talking to you, whoever you are, whatever age you are, whatever choices you're facing right now. If you're choosing between the safe path and the passionate path, choose passion. I promise you, the safety isn't worth the cost. You think you're protecting yourself by playing it safe, but you're actually guaranteeing that you'll never be fully alive. If you're settling in a relationship because it's good enough, don't. Good enough isn't enough. You deserve real love, real connection, real passion, and settling for less will poison you slowly over years until you wake up next to a stranger, wondering how you got. If you're putting off your dreams until later, stop. Do it now. Not when you have more money, not when you have more time, not when circumstances are perfect. Now, because later might never come. And if it does come, you might not be the same person anymore. You might have waited so long that you've lost the very thing that made you want to do it in the first place. I'm 78 years old. I made 3 decisions that seemed smart and responsible and safe. And those 3 decisions cost me my entire life. Don't make the same mistakes I made. Don't let fear, disguised as practicality, stop you from living. Don't let other people's approval become more important than your own authenticity. Don't wait for permission that will never come. Live now. Risk now. Choose passion over safety. Choose love over convenience. Choose yourself over everyone else's expectations. Because the price of playing it safe is higher than you can imagine. And by the time you realize what you've given up, it's too late to get it back. I'm living proof of that. And I don't want you to end up like me, alone at 78, full of regret, haunted by all the things you are too afraid to do. You still have time, but only if you act now. Only if you make different choices than I did. Only if you're brave enough to risk failure, risk judgment, risk everything for a chance to actually live instead of just exist. Subscribe if you want to hear more truth from someone who learned it too late.